Hello there. Today we're talking about results and gaining positive change. If you're feeling that you're working very hard, you're very busy, and yet it's difficult to see results, then stay tuned. Here is a technique that might just improve your performance. Stay tuned. I'm sure we can all relate to the situation where we're busy, even in a day. We are busy, we're flat out, and then somebody asks us, well, what did you achieve today? And it's difficult to identify what you actually achieved. If that feels like you, then there's a technique that we can borrow from successful people and use that in our own lives. And this technique is simply this. Often successful people in any walk of life or any pursuit are not taking more steps. They're not busier than the rest of us, but they get more out of each step. They're not taking more steps, but each step they take gives them a bigger gain. And what I'd like to encourage anybody to do if they want to see positive change is to think about what step they're making. What is it that you want to achieve in that step? And typically, the best area to focus on to take a step in is the constraint. Because if you're thinking, well, that's okay, I'm taking lots of steps, I'm not getting results, I want to get more from a step, what step do I take? It's the relentless focus on taking those steps to remove constraints in the business. If we think of it this way, if we have a chain and our business or a process or some kind of a project or a pursuit, if we think of that as a chain, then at any one time there is always a weakest link in that chain. There's always one part that's weaker than the rest. If we focus our attempts here and we're taking many steps, as it were, focusing on other areas of the business, we're very busy, but it's still going to break at that weakest link right there. The biggest gain that we can make is focusing on that link and improving that. And then, of course, there's always another weakest link that we can then focus on. It's the progressive elimination of constraints that are going to give us more for each step that we take. To conclude this little sharing, how do we know that we've removed the constraint? Well, the second thing to bear in mind is we've always got to have an eye on a result or a symptom. If we're removing this constraint, we should be able to see a symptom or an outcome that changes. There's always going to be something that changes if we remove a constraint. So if we're removing those constraints, we should see a change in our result. There's always something that we can measure. By looking at the results, we know that we've removed a constraint or we've made it better. And that will keep us going and sustain our progress to either keep working on that constraint or go to a new weakest link or new constraint. So I hope that gave you some encouragement to look at what you're doing. If you're busy but you're not seeing gains, you're probably making many steps. Take a step back, and look at getting more from each of your steps. And that means looking for the constraint, what is really holding you back. Focus on that, find a result that you can measure, and that will keep you going. I really hope that did make sense. Stick at it, look for the constraint, and I'll look forward to sharing with you again soon.